And my mind is just like this factory that constantly produces fantasies and illusions and delusions that come between me and reality. Most of life we spend like detached. So long retreats, they enable to have this really deep observation of reality. So I think this is important today for every person to go on an information diet. That this idea that more information is always good for us is like thinking that more food is always good for us. It's not true. And the same way that the world is full of junk food that we'd better avoid, the world is also full of junk information that we have better avoid. Information which is artificially filled with greed and hate and fear. Information is the food of the mind. And we should be as mindful as what we put into our minds as of what we put into our mouths. But it's not just about limiting consumption. It's also about digesting. It's also about detoxifying. Like we go throughout our life and we take in a lot of junk, whether we like it or not, that fills our mind. And I meditate 2 hours every day, so I can tell you there is a lot of junk in there. A lot of hate and fear and greed that I picked up over the years. And it's important to take time to simply digest the information and to also detoxify, to kind of let go of all this hatred and anger and fear and greed which is in our minds. So I began, when I was doing my PhD in Oxford, a friend recommended that I go on a meditation retreat, or a Vipassana meditation. And for a year, he kind of nagged me to go on meditation. And I said, no, this is kind of mystical mumbo-jumbo. I don't want to. And eventually I went. And it was amazing because it was the most remote thing for mysticism that I could imagine. Because it was a 10 days retreat. And on the very first evening of the retreat, the teacher, Esen Goenka, the only instruction he gave, he didn't tell me to kind of visualize some goddess or do this nothing. He just said, what is really happening right now? Bring your attention to your nostrils, to your nose, and just feel whether the breath is going in or whether the breath is going out. That's the only exercise. Like a pure observation of reality. What amazed me was my inability to do it. Like I would bring my attention to the nose and try to feel, is it going in, is it going out? And after about 5 seconds, some thought, some memory, some fantasy would arise in the mind and would just hijack my attention. And for the next 2 or 3 minutes, I would be rolling in this fantasy or memory until I realized, hey, I actually need to observe my breath. And I would come back to the breath. Again, 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, I will be able, and again, some memory would come and hijack me. And I realized first that I know almost nothing about my mind. I have no control of my mind. And my mind is just like this factory that constantly produces fantasies and illusions and delusions that come between me and reality, without some mind-made illusion or fantasy coming between me and reality. And for the last 24 years, I have this daily exercise of I devote 2 hours every day to just what is really happening right now. I sit with closed eyes and just try and focus, let go of all the mind-made stories and feel what is happening to the breath, what is happening to my body, the reality of the present moment. I also go for a long meditation retreat, usually every year, of between 30 days and 60 days of meditation. Because again, one of the things you realize, there is so much noise in the mind that just to calm it down to the level that you can really start meditating seriously, so long retreats, they enable to have this really deep observation of reality, which is impossible. Most of life we spend like detached